Well, hello YouTube. I just watched, what was the episode called? I forgot now. Through the Valley of the Shadows. And we ended up on Star Trek Discovery Through the Valley of Shadows, as I was meant to say in this introduction. It was better than last week's. Still didn't get really much. It was like, well, there was a crucial bit of origin for some things of where it ends up. You know, and like, how do you say it? A bit of DS9 with this, with the time crystals, you know. Not totally, but I'll go into this in a minute. Well, it starts off from last week and they're all running about, you know. Stamets and the doctor, looks like the engineer, I forgot her name, she interferes in their relationship because they're going to end up back together, or something's going to happen. So that was nice saying what crew were having dinner together as well. You get to see how close they are and they're all laughing, which were a nice moment. Because I'd really like to see more of the crew than the main character. I'd really like them to come more forward, you know, in this. I really would. They meet up with L'Rell, the Klingon High Chancellor. They have to go to Borif. Do you remember where Worf went? You know, and Kaylee's popped up on Borif. So this is all like Next Generation. You know, and when he went to DS9, he'd been with the clerics on Borif as well. So we get to Borif. And it's guarded by these like Klingon monks, and the Klingon politics just does not work on this place. It's independent, it's very religious. Klingons will die to protect it, and apparently it's not just full of like teachings and that. There's a sect of them that guard time crystals, and they have to, you know, so Pike meets up with them, and Tyler, who's the Klingon but human and a Klingon, you know, all that. They sort of like, she makes an introduction, she tells them I've got no power down there, they do what they want, it's thousands of years of history. So he beams down to the planet. Meanwhile, you know, Spock and Burnham go off to find Section 31 ship and pop out of warp, and they're all dead. Old crew are floating around everywhere because the AI has took control of all them, because it's after the knowledge and it wants Michael Burnham, because they can't destroy the future knowledge from that thing that, you know, weeks ago. And they end up on ship, Leyland's ship. So I assume Leyland's still running about, it must be. But she finds one of her crewmates from Shenzhou, and he's obviously, I thought, I bet he's been took over. It would all set up to lure him in, lure her in, because it needs, apparently timeline, she's going to play some part. You know, it knows this because it can see it all. And they're sort of trying to stop the AI from taking over Section 31 ship. And then she figures it out, he's not what he is, and he says, you know, if you touch that phaser out 1 point per second, I will, you know, move on you. And then there's a big shootout and a big discussion that it needs to get on Discovery because it wants this, like, download this information to ascend and do what it needs to do, you know. And we go, now this is where it gets, for me this was the most enjoyable bit. To be honest, the whole AI thing I'm not that impressed with. It's becoming a bit of a damp squib until in the beginning it were going somewhere. Now it's just taking over people, and it's got this agenda and that, and I can't be bothered. I'd rather that it was something else, you know, with more of a solid thing. I just think this jumping into crew members and running about for next how many episodes until it achieves its agenda. I've seen all that before, you know, but it's part of it. Now the interesting thing, Pike goes down to Borif with the Klingons, and it's really good because we get the origin and the future that he meets their child, because their child's down. You remember the Klingon baby? And time don't work like it does. When you're looking after time crystals, like things accelerate or decelerate, all kinds of weird temporal paradoxes on the planet when you guard these crystals. Because the sacred, I mean, even Klingons can't even, I assume they can't weaponize them. You know, I think they've tried, but it's the monks won't allow it. So he has an audience with like this monk, and he says, you know, you're gonna have to prove yourself. And he walks. He says, look, I'm unarmed. I've come here to prove myself. You know, I'm worthy to get a crystal. So anyway, he comes back. 2 Klingons with battlers that'll just like, you know, but he wishes them away, and he follows him off into his chamber. And Boreth, there's some great scenes of it. Looks like Mustafar, you know, Vader's planet with volcanic thing and all that, you know. So we're getting, and he says, you know, if you're gonna now, he sees his future, does Pike, and it's a fantastic scene where he's like the radiation core of the Enterprise or wherever it is goes off. Berthold rays all over the, obviously, radiation. And he's in a corridor, he screams, he's in a corridor, and he sees somebody in a wheelchair with all his face scarred, and it's brilliant shot. Absolutely brilliant. He sees himself and he screams, and then he's back in, you know, where he, in that chamber with the monk. And the monk says to him, he says, like, he's really freaking out. The monk says, if you take the crystal, you can't change your destiny. You know, you can walk away and change your future. And it's now this is where you get the depth of his character, which I really like this thing, because he's thinking, you know, bloody hell, if I take, you know, if I do this, I'm going to end up like that. You know, and then he got his Starfleet training kicks in, yeah, because look, if I don't do this, nobody's going to exist. This AI is going to evolve and annihilate the entire galaxy, you know. And it takes the crystal. I mean, I think it was a nice twist. It was predictable, but the scene itself was really good. You know, in the wheelchair with the 3 lights. And that, and they'd done a really good job, and it was quite scary. I mean, he really freaked out, but he did it. So, and you know, he took it, and then we get back on. Obviously, we're back on Section 31 ship, and a couple of crew things. But I mean, that's about it. He goes back up to the ship. He's speaking to Tyler and Lorel, whatever she's called, and he says. They ask him, you know, what did you say? I still can't say. It's between me and what I saw. And then we find out that was their son. He's grown up, and he gave them the badge, the fire badge or something. Some warrior thing, torchbearer, sorry. And he gives them that. And you know, he knew all this was destined with your child. So I think they've buried that now. That's been buried. They ended that sort of arc in it. And that's it, really. Anyway, she goes off, I suppose, and it ends up, well, they've got to work together, you know, because when Pike has a meeting with her, he says, look, you know, if we don't work together and get one of these time crystals, all sentient life, don't matter who you are, what your agenda, nothing's going to exist. So we jump on back to the ship. Burnham's telling them what's happened. They can't destroy this information, says, and then suddenly a Section 31 ship's on its way, and then there's 13 of them, they're all coming. Obviously AI's infiltrated all the ships, and they're on the way to Discovery because they want the information. But before all this, the other ship that we're on had a destination outside Federation space, so we don't know what's out there yet, and who's sending the signals as well. You know, because it wasn't Burnham's mother, was it, with signals? So, you know, they come out with Burnham says, we're going to have to destroy its ship on the way to get rid of data. And Pike says, let's evacuate the ship and destroy it, you know, and calls up the Enterprise, you know, his XO and that. And that's it. But I mean, this episode, it was better than last week. I was a bit annoyed with it last week. Now, the AI thing, like I said a few minutes ago, I'm getting a bit bored of it, especially when it's taking over bodies and jumping about. There's a nice scene with it sliding along the floor, but they magnetise it. You know, because it wants to possess Burnham. I mean, yeah, it's nothing new, do you know what I mean? I was just expecting them to... Because so far, a lot of these episodes of the series have been really good, except last week were a bit bad. And this week it was better. But the same with Pike Series Future, it was the high point for me. But all in all, again, we're on another filler episode, because I think we've got 6 episodes to go. Is it 15? I think it's 18 episodes. So I think by next week we're going to get a bit more, or it could be just another extended episode of everybody running about and that. But we were offered something solid in this. Now it's going to be interesting what they do with the time crystal, because I think next week they'll probably destroy Discovery and it'll reform. They won't be able to destroy it. They'll get off the ship, blow it apart, Section 31 fleet coming in, Enterprise will turn up, and they'll blow the ship, but it won't blow up. It'll do something with time crystal and that data, it can't be destroyed. It'll reform the ship. So I think that's going to happen. I think that's a bit predictable. And obviously Leyland's going to be in that fleet of ships next week. But yeah, it were nice to see the Klingon thing sort of wind up a bit. I know they're going to be back, but you know, we're moving on. But yeah, an enjoyable episode, nicely written, but didn't give you enough again, you know. So it looks like, you know, you get a series and you get them low points. You get it's like just enough to eat on, you know. When there were nothing, I mean, the big thing I've said, but there were nothing major to no answers, so they're holding back on the whole thing. Now I'm hoping it's now, I've read a lot of reviews and people and stuff, and somebody said it could be something to do with VJ. It better not be, because no, it's not bloody VJ, right? That they can't go doing that, right? Or the Borg. This cannot be the Borg. And that we, Starfleet, created the Borg somehow with time travel. I just hope this ain't prevalent to that. If they do that, I probably will switch off. You know, I like the stuff where they keep it to canon, and well, they're bringing it in. I know there's copyright problems and they've got to alter it by 25%. That's why uniforms are different and all this, because it's all politics behind it all. Should look into this, guys. It's quite interesting, especially with copyright. Have you noticed the merchandise? There's hardly anything out. Dealers are not touching it. There's a bit of, I watched this video on this review about it. It was interesting, but I'll post a link under this about it. But there's no merchandise, is there? I mean, we've had a couple of badges. I think a model's come out. A model on Eagle Moss. But where's the action figures and the phasers and the other stuff not come out after? Normally by the second season we'd have had a tricorder, a phaser and a communicator all out. I know you can buy uniform off Amazon and eBay. I've been looking at it. I'm not really that bothered about the uniforms. I've got enough Star Trek uniforms, plus I don't know, I do like the Pike one, you know, with the zip-up going on. I do quite like that, actually. You know, but I think I'd probably be more interested in that, you know. But I like the phasers. I think, but they're not out, are they? Have you noticed? You know, they should have been out by now. Should all have them up wall in our collections, but we'll have to wait and see when they sort this mess out. But yeah, not a bad episode. It jungled along nicely, but roll on next week. I do like to get to end of this now. I think, you know, I think I'd like to get a few episodes along and find out what's going on, because with like it taking over, fake people and that's getting a bit predictable, and I don't want to go down this path. It's interesting seeing Star Trek with like one season with a massive story arc, whereas next year, I know we had a story arc in DS9, but there were a lot of Star Trek episodes in there, do you know what I mean? And it is sort of odd, you know, keeping up with it. But we're near the end now, guys, so only a matter of time. So I will be live on Sunday at 7 o'clock. Definitely, so I'll see you all there, guys. I look forward to it. Great conversation we had last week, loved it, you know. So definitely 7 o'clock Sunday. I'm at a comic thing Sunday. I've got a new phone, so I'm going to try and stream it live, see if I can do it. But I'm working on that. But definitely 7 o'clock on Sunday, guys. So live long and prosper, and yeah, you know, let's get on with Star Trek Discovery.